On this episode, we chat with Nick Wattanavekin, the man who brought Canadian donut icon Tim Hortons to Thailand.
So, if you're curious about the business strategies behind franchising a giant foreign brand into a new market, you'll love this episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
Sawadee krap, this is the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who came to Thailand in 2001 on a secret mission to make everyone love pineapple on pizza. Because if durian can do it, pineapple sure as hell can too.
Dude, they are not the same. And I'm Eddie Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a one-year teaching contract 19 years ago. Fell in love with wondering how long it was going to take for Thailand to retract some public statement it's made, because it seems inevitable that they always do.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We want to say a quick thank you to one of our patrons, Owen O'Neill, who supports us at the show shout-out level. Stick around after we're done talking with the man who brought Canadian donut icon Tim Hortons to Thailand to hear why Owen has been named the official oracle of the Bangkok Podcast.
Ooh, mystical.
And patrons get a whole bunch of cool stuff, including our regular show a day early, behind-the-scenes photos and videos of our interviews, discounts on swag, which you can find on our website, and various other things that aren't available to regular listeners. But best of all, patrons like Owen also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and random topics. We just finished recording this week's bonus show, and we discussed the latest coronavirus news, of course, but we also talked about our different tolerances for caffeine before bedtime, and Greg's explanation to his female Thai teacher about how Bangkok is a completely different city for Farang men than it is for Thai women. To become a patron, head to bangkokpodcast.com/support.
Right on. Okay, before we get started, you hear that? You hear that, Ed?
Oh, wow.
I have something in my hand.
Crinkly noises.
That's right. We are announcing a small giveaway. Now, some of you may remember back in episode 40 of season 2, we interviewed a guy by the name of Ron Morris about his excellent book called The Thai Book, a field guide to Thai political motivations. Well, Ron is out with a new book about his adventures in Asia over the past few decades. It's called Last Century, The Tales of an Adventurer in the Asian Tiger Era. And I'm about halfway through the copy that he sent me, and I'm enjoying it a great deal. It's a really cool book. And we're giving away a copy to one lucky listener. Holding it in my hand right now. So if you'd like to get a copy of Ron's new book, just send an email to bangkokpodcast@gmail.com with the subject of book, and we will choose one person at random as a winner and announce it on the next show. And whoever wins, we'll send you the book in the mail, and you, there you go. There's several hours of fine entertainment, courtesy of our buddy Ron Morris. So write in the email if you want the book.
So get on it, man. As soon as you hear this, send an email, and the book could be yours.
Could be yours. All right. Well, on this episode, we take a break from all the bad news that's been going around lately and instead focus on something a little more positive and uplifting, and that is, of course, Canadian donuts. Our guest this week is Nick Wattanavekin, the man responsible for bringing the iconic Canadian restaurant Tim Hortons to Thailand. Now, if you haven't yet been to Timmy's, as us Canadians call it, the first store is at the Samyan Midtown Mall on Rama 4 across from Chamchuri Square. The donuts are awesome, the sandwiches are great, the coffee is delicious, and the Timbits, mwah, you got to try them yourself. So I sat down with Nick to talk about what it takes to bring a well-known international brand to a market where they're essentially an unknown entity, what type of research went into the deal, how it appeals to the tastes of Thai consumers, and what the future holds for Canada's favorite donut shop in Thailand. All right, so I am here in a very nice little office, in an office building on Rama 4 Road, sitting across the table from Nick, who is the CEO of We Eat, the local franchisee of the Thai franchisee of one of my favorite places to eat, Tim Hortons. Nick, welcome to the Bangkok Podcast.
Thanks for coming, Greg.
Oh, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Now, I wanted to talk about a few things, but first of all, I just wanted to say thank you for being like the first guy to bring one of Canada's institutions to Thailand. And if our listeners don't know, Tim Hortons is a sort of a Canadian icon. It's a donut, sandwich, soup, dessert, cake, coffee shop. In Canada, I'm not sure how it works here because I didn't try out the special lingo, but in Canada, there's special shorthand you can use when making an order, and people always talk about loving their Timmies, and et cetera, et cetera. It's like a part of Canadian culture. So thank you for bringing that to Thailand.
Yeah, of course, my honor, really. But yes, all the classics are there, so you can order with your, the lingos that are used in Canada, like double.
So if I walk in and ask for a double and a
it'll be there.
or something?
It'll be there.
Ooh,
it'll be there.
All right. Well, first of all, a little bit about you. You were born in Bangkok.
Yep.
You're Thai through and through. How did you get into like business? Did you graduate from business school?
I started off my career as a banker, actually, as
Really?
an investment banker. And I left that a few years ago, and then I was introduced to RBI, who is the franchisor for Tim Hortons. They are the mother company.
Oh, okay.
And I was actually connected by JP Morgan, who's one of my colleagues back in the days. He's running the investment banking operations in Thailand.
Okay.
And yeah, we got connected, and I fell in love with the brand. I thought the business makes sense. I think the partner is really great. I think we see eye to eye in terms of our what we want to achieve in the long term.
Okay.
And we decided to bring the brand in.
So have you been to Canada?
I have as a tourist,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say I have a long connection with the brand, to be honest. But it's not like I decided yesterday and then brought it in.
Right.
The conversation with the franchisor actually took longer than launching the brand itself. We were in discussion for almost a year and a half, during which I flew over the world really to Canada, of course, UAE, where their operations is quite strong. Their operations in Philippines, which is really successful.
Oh, yeah?
It's the first location in Asia.
Wow.
And also China, which they're doing a lot of work. It's a lot of budget behind the Chinese team. Obviously, it's a big country.
Yeah.
And they're looking to win there.
Cool. So when you're looking at the market and doing some market research or studying what people are craving or what people will like, what kind of research did you do? Because you and I just a minute ago were talking about, I've been here 20 years, and when I came here, there was really not a lot of international restaurant chains or big international food here. And Thailand's really boomed, especially Bangkok has really boomed over the past 20 years. But I remember back in the day, like the first one I can remember was on Silom Road, and they opened that coffee bun place. You're a young kid. I don't know, maybe you were like junior high school by then. Damn kids. But there was lineups down the block for these Indonesian, I think, coffee buns. And there's all these conspiracy theories how people were being paid to stand in line. And then it went on. And then I remember when Subway opened here. This is before Twitter or anything. So I would get texts on my phone. Hey, there's a Subway on Silom. It was a big news. And then, of course, Krispy Kreme opened in Paragon. And you had people selling bootleg Krispy Kremes across the street for double the price. Like, how has the Thai taste for international brands and how has their craving changed over the past 10 years or so?
A lot, for sure. I mean, like you said, back in the days, our choices were Pizza Hut and KFC, right?
That's right.
And Dunkin' Donut every now and then if you walk through the malls.
Right,
and
if
stuff.
you want to be classy, like, let's go ISO tonight, we're going to go for a donut.
But yeah, it has changed for sure. And Bangkok has become a truly metropolitan city, I guess. For all the way from the top, right? You hear news of, celebrity chefs coming in, opening their branches and so on. And of course, like all the major chains in the QSR industry are here.
QSRs,
quick service restaurants. Fast food. We saw a lot of brands coming in,
right?
Succeeding, some failing as well. And if an easy way to look at it, if you go to 7-Eleven, right? The things people are buying is not, your more bing and stuff anymore. People buy grilled cheese sandwiches and so on. I think especially in Bangkok, Western food has become the norm.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So from that perspective, it's not a totally alien thing to be bringing in a Western brand anymore. But of course, there are other challenges beyond that.
Right. And Tim Hortons, like you said, is known in a few places, but it's not like Pizza Hut or Coca-Cola. It doesn't have a global footprint that people recognize immediately.
No. I mean, certainly we, of course, had we had the choice, we would have wanted a brand that had instant recognition without being present in the market. Mm-hmm. But then how many brands are like that, to be honest?
Very few.
In fast food language, there's only like, KFC, McDonald's, Starbucks,
Burger King.
And they've been here.
Heineke's got most of those wrapped up anyway.
They've been here for a long time. But, it's not the end of the day. I mean, a brand that has heritage like Tim Hortons, it's got history, it's got claims that it can make. It's not like, I open Nick's Cafe and I can't make any claim, right? Even if you don't know the brand, I can just come in and say to you, hey, there's this brand from Canada. It opened yesterday. Canada is perceived as like a high quality, high income nation. You think of nature and so on. Oh, hey, it must be good. Oh yeah, by the way, it opened in 1964. Wow, that's long history. It's been there for a long time. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's got like 70-80% market share in Canada. Whoa.
Okay.
I mean, even if you don't know the brand, right? Surely, like you okay, like I'll come try it. It's $100. Like
it's got to be something there.
It's not like, yo, let's go to Nick's Cafe. It's like,
who's Nick?
Who the hell's Nick? Right?
Where's he at? Sandwiches? I can get sandwiches anywhere.
Yeah. So, I mean, branding, and I think we did our launch marketing correctly. That's why it piqued a lot of interest. But then, of course, to us, marketing is just a communications tool, right?
Right.
It's us promising people a bunch of things, and at the end of the day, if we're going to survive, we really need to deliver on what was promised. So the fundamentals are really the focus here. Right. And if you take a look at some of the most successful brands in Thailand, Dairy Queen, Sizzler, Bill is an icon in this space. In terms of brand equity, these brands are not any better than Tim Hortons, if not worse, right?
Right.
On an international scale.
You're asking me. I don't think they're as good at all.
But then why do they succeed? I mean, well, Miners operations are, the golden standard, not just in the country, but in the region and perhaps in the world as well. They run some of the best operations in the world.
Right.
And, that's what we're looking for. We have we have a great platform. We have great products. We just need to deliver that to the mass.
Right. So what's involved with bringing a restaurant franchise to Thailand? Where do you start? Do you go into the Office of Business Development guy and say, hey, I want to open a thing?
Yeah. So nowadays, franchisors operate under a master franchisee model. Uh-huh. So they give out a territory to a single operator, single partner, and that single partner commits to a certain target of how many restaurants that we need to open in the next 5 years, 10 years, in a trade-off for exclusivity in the territory.
I see.
So with that being said, it's not a simple contract of opening one restaurant. There's a whole lot of legal documents to go through. There's a whole lot of commercial terms to agree with for 20 years. Next 20 years, how many percentage we're going to pay?
Damn, so you're in the donut business for a while.
Yeah, in it for life. What are the penalties? What are the things I need to comply with? We need to think about the future, so on. So there's a lot of things that we negotiated. So like I said before, it took us 1.5 years to negotiate the terms.
Yeah.
And to launch the brand itself, it actually only took us 7 months or something. So
right.
There's a lot of work on that front.
Right. So your first location is Samyan Midtown, which is the new mall that opened across from Chamchuri Square on Ramaphore down towards Walampong.
Correct.
It's actually I was surprised. I mean, it's a mall in Bangkok. You know what you're going to expect, but it's a pretty damn nice mall. It's got a lot of really interesting, different, unique food and snack options. There's a lot of cool restaurants there, Tim Hortons included. And there are a lot of interesting stores on the top floor. There's also the new location of House movie theater, which moved from RCA. So it's a really neat, interesting mall. And I was there the first day that Tim Hortons opened, and it was just a shit show. And I was like, there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people outside. And I was like, man, I love Timbits, but I'm not standing in line for 2 hours to eat some, especially since I'm out fat already. So I actually came back the next day, and it was a little bit less, but it was really, really popular. And can you talk about what it was like opening that day? And did it go as planned, or was it overwhelming? How did you feel at the end of the day?
Yeah, like I said, so I think we did our marketing well. So we communicated to the people, hey, we got this great brand, we got this great coffee, we got all these great products, which is, unique to the market, and come try it. And so I think a lot of people saw that, heard that somewhere, and we were overwhelmed as well. We didn't expect that kind of traffic, and it's hard for the operations guys to handle this kind of traffic. It's a new brand, it's a new product platform. There's thousands of people, trying to get in.
Right.
So there's the pressure there, which makes it harder for us to deliver our promise. But 4 weeks on, we're still sustaining that kind of traffic. So I think we did a few things right, which is a good sign. But the challenge is there. Yeah, we got to speed up.
Yeah.
How do we manage the line? We're still a bit slow, maybe. And 4 weeks on, people aren't as forgiving as the first day. Like, okay, yeah, first day. It's fine. We wait 45 minutes.
There's some hiccups.
But hey, man, I waited 4 weeks. I still got to wait 45 minutes. So, yeah. But we're working on that. We're seeing improvements every day, and we just gotta get it right.
Cool. Now, what when you're building out the business plan for this, do you take into account the I don't know what you would call it if you graphed the size of the crowds or the demand or something like that? I mean, you would see it very high on the first day, and then it would go for a while. And then I think usually it drops off pretty steeply once the novelty wears off.
Yeah.
But do you build that into the things? Because like I said, we remember what the Krispy Kreme was like. There was lineups around the block.
Of course.
The Japanese pancake place, And now you can walk by and you might be able to not even jump in line, or you might only have to wait 1 or 2 minutes. So it's not as busy as it used to be once people got their fill.
Of course.
Do you plan for that?
Yeah. So the first store individually, of course, we didn't take the hype crowds into the long-term forecast.
Yeah.
We looked at a bunch of metrics, what we know about the competitors around the area, how much they're selling, how many percentage of the foot traffic we plan to capture, how much we plan to sell per ticket or per check. And we focus that on long-term numbers when we negotiate with the landlord.
Okay.
I think the long-term sustainability of the brand itself as a whole, again, comes back to the same point of delivering the promise that we made to the consumers, tackling their pain points. And yeah, I think, that's still to be proven, right?
Yeah. It worked for me. I was very happy. So like you said earlier, Tim Hortons is known for some special menu items. Like, it's not just a donut; it's a Boston cream donut, or Timbits, which are the Tim Hortons version of donut holes. And the branded special coffee. How do you import that? Do you have to train people to make it here? How's that work?
So we're a beverage company. First off, but then of course we are a North American coffee chain, so the whole heritage is linked with donuts as well. It's the classic pairing. So I think those are the two heritage offerings, so to speak. Of course, with that being said, we're super strict in terms of quality, in terms of consistency of these two products. So our coffee is 100% imported. Tim Hortons controls a global supply chain where they source from over 12,000 coffee farmers across the world.
Wow.
And, they have their own roasting facility, which we import from there. So we can guarantee that the coffee you're getting here is the same standard of coffee as every Tim Hortons across the world.
Right.
Donuts, we are still importing that because we couldn't find a local supply who meets the strict standards that we have. So those are in line with what you get in Canada as well.
Yeah, they tasted really good and very fresh. Dude, what's the logistics of importing donuts?
A whole bunch of things.
Put them on an airplane and
Yeah.
wow.
But having said, we import the doughs and so on. But we do have local flavors. We do have offerings which are tailored specifically to Thailand. And we did a bunch of research in terms of what kind of flavors would intrigue Thai consumers, really. And same with coffee as well, because our competitors here are different to who we compete with in Canada or who we compete in the UAE and so on. Every market's different, right?
Right.
And so if you go to our stores, you will see that we have a lot of specialty beverages. I think we go up against the more specialty type coffee chain here. So we have, your nitro cold brew, your nitro matcha, your cold foam cold brew, which is, might not be offered in Canada.
Right.
But then, of course, where are the coffee beans from? It's all sourced from the same high quality sources, which are sourced for Canada.
Yeah. It's funny you talk about local flavors. Last year, Ed, my co-host, and I, we went to a pizza company and we recorded a show of us trying the durian pizza, which for foreigners is just a horrifying concept. Like, absolutely a hard no on that. But I got to say, I'm not a huge fan of durian. But if you were, I would say that durian pizza actually ain't that bad. So it's interesting that you it's like when you're a kid and your friend says, "Oh, let's try to make a peanut butter and pickle sandwich." And you go, "No, that's gross." And then you actually try it and it's not bad. So I'm looking forward to some. Maybe one day I can go in and order a double with a som tam cruller or something like that. Tim Hortons.
So we haven't localized to that point for sure. I think, with our beverage platform, it's more simple. It's not as controversial as food. You might be a guy in India or something, right? And you're having your chicken tikka, but then you're having wine, right? And you fast forward to a guy in Thailand, say myself, and I'm eating a grapao. It's totally different to the chicken tikka, right?
Yeah.
But then I'm also having the same wine. So I think the beverage taste across the world is more consistent in terms of taste preference. On the food front, we did tailor some flavors for the Thai consumers.
Like what?
But from the consumer research we did was that people didn't want to be coming in and buying grapao, at least at our launch stage, right? They still want things which are Canadian, so to speak. So we stuck with the platforms which are already there. So the paninis platform, the grilled cheese platforms, and so on. But we did research into what kind of flavors people would be interested to try. So, for example, our barbecue pulled pork panini sandwich. From our research, Thais, they really like the pulled pork. So we made a panini out of that. But, we didn't go so far as to, making our local som tam to go with the coffee.
Som tam stuffed donut or something like that.
But, down the road, maybe. Right. The consumer market is forever changing.
Sure. Exactly.
We did our research for sure. It's quite extensive. But then, of course, it was 1,000 people in a country with 70 million guys, right?
Right.
It's still a small sample size. As we open more stores, as we interact with more guests, things would change. As the brands become more familiar with the consumers, of course, we might end up building.
Right.
Same with the other guys, right? Your mu ping sandwiches or something.
Right. I'll tell you, man. If you introduce, say a lab Timbit, I'll try that. I'll be first in line. I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I like it or not, but I'm always willing to try something new. So, can you talk about, as we're finishing up here, can you talk about where your future locations are going to be, or any plans in that regard?
So our internal target is for 15 stores this year.
Wow, in 2020.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna open at least 10 in the next 7 or 8 months.
In Bangkok, or?
Yeah, predominantly in Bangkok. Okay. We want to build critical mass, and in terms of operational complexity, we gotta be in a cluster. Otherwise, our supply chain would be killing me.
Yeah, right. You're gonna have dudes on motorcycles, line man delivering donuts on.
But yeah, stay tuned. Yeah.
Cool. And one last question: if I get a tattoo that says "Timbits Forever," with like a Thai Canadian flag cross. Do I get free donuts for life?
No, you get a clap, but
All right, can use some applause. Everyone can use some applause. All right, Nick. Well, thanks for coming on and talking about that, man. It was interesting. It's a big project and it seems to be going well. So I wish you continued success, and I look forward to breaking my diet many more times and ordering probably more donuts than I should at a Tim Hortons.
that's good.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming in.
Dude, it's so fascinating trying to figure out what is going to work here. You know, there's so many things that are so popular back home, and then they just flop over here, and then other things like just catch on.
Right. Yeah. And luckily that Tim seemed to be doing really well, because in Canada, it's like I said to on the interview with Nick, like, it's an icon in Canada. It's like every 5 kilometers on the highway, there's a Tim Hortons, and all of them are always busy all the time. So
Right. You know, that might be true, but Thai people send their food all around the world too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe it's just part of the sort of general homogeneity of the human species is slowly becoming the same around the world. But I think it's great. I mean, it's they're really, really good food. I haven't tried the sandwiches here or anything yet. I just tried the donuts and the coffee. But hey, man, for a quick pick me up and some good comfort food, Tim, you can't beat Tim Hortons. It's good stuff, and it seems to be run very well. The store is big and it's clean and it's well lit. So I got to go back.
Cool. I've never been in my life, but I'll have to check it out.
Let's go together. I can introduce you.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds like a date.
To the donuts and Nick if he happens to be there that night.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Let's get into some love, loathe, or live with, where one of us picks a particular aspect of living in Bangkok, which we then discuss and decide if it's something we love about living here, loathe about living here, or have come to accept it as something that we just have to learn to live with no matter how we feel about it. And this week, man, it is your turn.
All right, I think I got a good one for you. Now, this is something that has come up before, and there's a couple different variations of this issue, but I think you'll know what I'm talking about. But I don't think we've done it for love, loathe, and leave, or love, loathe, and live with.
Okay.
So, Greg, what do you think about the Thai penchant for having many different names and then also sometimes changing their names?
So specifically changing their names?
Well, I think there's two related things. One is that I feel like Thai people tend to have more names for themselves than other people do. You know, so for example, I'm friends with a girl on Facebook, and she has a Facebook name, and then she has a nickname, which is not her Facebook name, and then of course, and then of course, there's her proper Thai name, like her regular name. Like all Thai people have at least two names. But I mean, I know Thai people. I know Thai people who have like 3 names, and then. But a related issue then is, I have had many Thai friends who change their nickname over time. They just decide, oh, like my name's not Nut anymore; it's Sue. Like I'm Sue now. For real, they change their nicknames.
Yeah, I've got a friend who's her nickname is Ying, but then on Facebook she spells it really weirdly. So unless you know how she spells, like the variation of Ying, you can't even find her on Facebook if you're searching for her. And then there's her regular name, of course. So yeah, and then also every once in a while a Thai person will go to a fortune teller or something, and they'll say, "Ooh, yeah, your nickname is unlucky. You need to change that."
That's right. It's usually that is exactly right. It's usually connected to a fortune teller, where they will change the spelling of their name, they will change the pronunciation of their name, or they'll just change their nickname entirely.
Yeah, I gotta say I live with it because I think it's a unique cultural quirk. There's also a lot I really don't like about it though, but that all stems from working in an office because you're like, I gotta send an email to Nut.
Right.
What's his real name? Anyone knows his real name? Hey, what's Nut's name? Which Nut? There's 15 Nuts here. The guy with dark hair and Nut. It could be really confusing. So I think it's a cool little cultural quirk for Thai culture that I kind of like, but I think I'm going to say live with because it can be really burdensome sometimes.
It's funny. I think you and I are on exactly the same page. Part of me wants to say loathe because it can be so annoying, but the truth is usually it's not. Like usually it's just kind of a little cute thing.
Yeah.
But on occasion it's just annoying when especially if they're changing their name, like because they went to a fortune teller, and at least to my ears, that's a pretty trivial reason to do it. And it's like, and now this person is like, I have to remember that their name is different now.
Right.
You know, it's affecting a lot of people.
And it's even worse when then we're talking to someone who's like, you say like, oh, this person, and you use their new nickname, and they're like, who's that? Oh, they used to be known by this other nickname, so now you got to remember 2 nicknames.
Yeah, but I do find it charming. I would say at least half the time. So I'm gonna have to go with live with.
Yeah, I'll go with live with as well. Yeah, I think we're on the same page with that one.
Okay. So as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, we'd like to say thank you to Owen O'Neill for lending us his support at the show shout-out level. Greg, what did you find out about Owen?
Well, as it turns out, Owen sent us a quick email. He is from Australia. He's from Newcastle. Ed, do you know where Newcastle is in Australia?
I do not.
I didn't either, even though I'm half Australian, even though I have Australian citizenship. So I looked on Google Maps. Actually, it's just above Sydney on the east coast there. And I whipped out some Google Street View and I toured around the town. Oh, and you got a nice looking town there. Newcastle's a really pretty looking place. Got a beach.
Sweet.
It's got the palm trees and stuff. Yeah, it looks really nice. So Owen says, I traveled through Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand in August 2019 and found you guys while I was researching my trip and have been listening ever since. I spent about a week in Bangkok, which was the first time I'd been there in 10 years. It had changed a hell of a lot. Favorite place was making the trip over to Chinatown every night for dinner. Food was amazing. I'm hoping to get back in the near future and do some travel around northern Thailand. So he said he was here last year in 2019, and then he was here 10 years before that. And Ed, do you remember what happened in 2009?
To be honest, not really.
No, well, he was here, if he was here in August 2019 and then 10 years before that, that means he would have got here about 4 months after the protests against Abhisit, Prime Minister Abhisit, in April 2009. You remember the shootouts at the Victory Monument? And they stormed the ASEAN meeting in Pattaya, and all the VIP ASEAN people had to be evacuated with helicopters and boats out of Pattaya and stuff.
I do remember that, yeah.
Right. So he got here a few months after that. He's saying he wants to come back. Oh, and I think you might be our oracle because you always seem to be in Thailand a few months after all the shit hits the fan and calms down. So we're in the middle of this coronavirus stuff right now. I think that maybe you should wait a while, but I'm going to take it as a sign when Owen comes to Thailand, the worst has passed.
Oh, I
because
see.
He always seems to be here a few months after the shit hits the fan, so to speak.
He misses the shit. That's a good thing to do, to miss all the shit.
That's right. It does happen in Thailand from time to time. So that's our thing. Owen's our oracle. When he's in Thailand, it's safe to come out from our burrows and meet him for a beer. So Owen, thank you for your support, man. We appreciate it. And let us know when you're here. We'll unlock our doors, take our masks off, and come out and share a brewski with you.
Yeah, thanks, Owen. And also a final thanks to all of our patrons who help keep the show ad-free. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping support the show. Find out more by clicking support on our website and connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages.
Yeah, you can also listen to each episode on YouTube. You can chat with us online or even reach out to me directly on Twitter at BKKGreg. So thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll see you back here next week.
See you next week.
Free.
Test. Hello.
I think every week I get a little bit more relaxed. I lean a little bit further back in my chair here. You can see more of my double chins on our video feed here. My mic arm is getting longer and longer. Eventually, I'm just going to do the show on my back. I'm going to have to suspend the microphone from the roof like the guy who announces boxing ring matches or something.
Well, I definitely, when I get my main computer desk set up, I definitely want to have my mic coming from above. I don't know if it'll literally be hanging from the ceiling, but you know.
Yeah, from above, because then when you breathe out, it doesn't go right into the mic.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's go.
Let's do this.